Hi, my name is Nancy Bowen. I'm an Ohio State University field specialist for community economics. In this session, we will summarize fact sheet number 5 of the Shale Energy Development Economic Impact Analysis fact sheet series, titled Economic Development Strategies for Energy Boomtowns. This is the 5th of a fact sheet series titled Ohio Energy Trends, comparing old and new energy development. The objectives of this presentation are to provide an introduction and overview of the project, a brief review of boomtown economies, a summary of the economic sustainability, opportunities and challenges, and economic strategies related to energy boomtowns. The fact sheet series that we're working with is based on work from the project titled Maximizing the Gains of Old and New Energy Development for America's Rural Communities. This was a project supported by funding from the USDA National Institute of Food and Agriculture and Food Research Initiative. The overriding goal of this project is to assess how energy development affects local job creation and general community economic well-being, and, in turn, the manner by which communities can reap positive long-term sustainable benefits from energy development. Simply defined, energy boomtowns are communities undergoing rapid growth due to sudden economic shock. Boomtown economies are usually tied to natural resources, which are known to peak, then drop off over a relatively short time period. This type of sudden economic shock usually allows little time for strategic planning or for implementation of strategies that would leverage long-term growth. So despite the vibrant nature of energy development, boomtowns should take early steps to develop a plan addressing economic, social, and environmental changes. Economic development strategies can be developed and implemented to leverage the positive impacts that are needed to transcend the potential bust. A proactive approach mitigates the inevitable downturn while capturing and retaining economic opportunities during the upswing to ensure future growth. Economic opportunities. Energy sector booms are typically negligible to negative in metropolitan areas, as shown in the research, and this is mostly due to metro areas being large and energy being a relatively small sector in terms of employment. Even though there are positive net spillovers for several sectors in rural areas, the longer-term positive effects are on non-traded goods employment, such as public service, construction, tourism, but not necessarily the manufacturing sector. Of the sectors that benefit in rural areas, construction benefits the most. Other sectors that benefit in rural areas are typically transportation, warehousing, retail, and wholesale trade. According to the research, there is really no appreciable population change in metro or non-metro areas because the workforce is typically from outside the area. Economic challenges can offset the positive effects. Boomtowns should weigh the costs and benefits of energy development to better inform economic sustainability strategies. Challenges range from environmental impacts to strains on infrastructure and local government services. Since the workforce is often non-local, the availability of affordable housing for both existing and new residents is typically a challenge in many energy boomtowns. Understanding and quantifying costs to the impacted locality is an important first step in developing sustainable strategies. So let's talk a little bit about the economic sustainability strategies that could be recommended. The primary advice for communities is to insist that oil and gas developers do no harm in the long run, so that costs that inevitably occur are mitigated through oversight and policies that generate revenue to offset costs and pay for needed repairs. This slide lists 5 strategies that address cost mitigation or wealth retention. They include a severance tax or impact fee to increase taxes commensurate with natural gas extraction in order to mitigate the impacts. A legacy or trust fund is another strategy to mitigate impact, especially in the long term. This type of fund can capture and hold funds permanently to benefit future generations. A more short-term approach is the pay-as-you-go approach. This type of funding strategy funds improvements as they are needed in order to avoid long-term funding commitments that may not happen. Communities should also consider targeted funding such as a diversification fund, which would identify and fund targeted attraction efforts that encourage diversification or resiliency, for instance. The fifth strategy listed here ensures that industry bears the burden of hidden costs through road agreements or other such arrangements in order to compensate for extraction costs so that that burden does not have to be borne by the community or the taxpayers. Additional strategies that could be considered include leveraging wealth and economic activity into permanent advantages. Also, a key is targeting investment in the workforce. These two critical strategies really should be addressed during the boom in order to leverage activities that can help increase economic resiliency in the long term. Investing in the workforce will actually help to increase the share of local employment during the drilling period and also to support a diversified economy over time. It's also important that regional entities that are currently in place would help local governments facilitate communication and cooperation and to establish trust. Strengthening the capacity of local governments can lay the foundation for addressing the opportunities and challenges of energy development. A deliberate strategy to increase transparency of local government and governance institutions can help build a proactive, trust-based network across jurisdictions. In summary, the anticipated types of economic impacts for energy boomtowns are based on limited research, but although studies vary on the type and degree of impact, many agree that energy boomtowns should take a comprehensive and forward-thinking approach to economic development. Since on average employment spillovers from economic shocks in other industries are stronger, policymakers should concentrate on leveraging opportunities that a boom would provide to diversify local and regional economies. This presentation is based upon work that is supported by the National Institute of Food and Agriculture, U.S. Department of Agriculture, Agricultural and Food Research Initiative, under grant number 114-00612 titled Maximizing the Gains of Old and New Energy Development for America's Rural Communities. The authors acknowledge and appreciate the support of both the USDA AFRI grant and the project team from The Ohio State University College of Food, Agricultural, and Environmental Sciences and Department of Agricultural, Environmental, and Development Economics. Any opinions, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this publication are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the view of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. To assess the Shale Energy Development Economic Impact Analysis Fact Sheet Series in its entirety, and for additional shale energy economic analysis reports, please visit go.osu.edu/energy. Thank you.